Exactly what happened.
Two cars crashed. I can hear a girl screaming. It's awful. There's 4 or 5 kids in the car and they need help now.
This place about to blow.
Personally, I think distracted driving is when you're not completely concentrated on the road. Like maybe you're listening to the radio, maybe you're talking to a friend. Just something as long as you're not completely concentrated on the road and what you're doing.
That's not necessarily true because distracted driving, when someone's driving, they're not always looking at the road. They're looking at like signs. They're looking at different people driving because you have to look at what other people are doing, not just yourself. So distracted driving, in my opinion, is when something is preventing you from focusing on moving the car. The age group that has the most distracted drivers would be the newer drivers, like 17-year-olds, all the teenagers, because they're focused on other things, such as like what music is playing, like showing off to their friends and all that, and they're not really looking at the road when they're driving. So
I don't know. I feel that that's not necessarily distracted driving. I feel new parents would be more distracted drivers because they have like their child and all the stuff going on. So I feel like 25 through 35 would be more distracted drivers rather than really bad drivers who are new to the road.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, bro, can I get a ride?
You're supposed to have one, but I'll be honest here. Sometimes when, like, after cheerleading, if people would ask me for rides home, I would just give them, like, rides.
Full car.
But no, only, like, maybe 1 or 2 people. I would never have, like, a full car, because that would be bad.
Yes. I like to listen to music pretty loud, and usually I start jamming out with everybody else in the car, so it kind of distracts the driver, and usually my hands are flailing everywhere. It'd be pretty distracting.
I like to show my dad pictures while we drive. He shows me pictures too, so it's okay.
Always wear a seatbelt.
Less speeding.
Don't distract the driver.
Less coming in with
Put your phone down.
Keep your phone down.
Yeah. Give your phone to your second person, your passenger, if you have the chance, just to make sure that you're not touching it.
Learning to say no.
Check your mirrors, not your phone.
A new warning tonight from the American justice system that distracted drivers will be treated as criminals. A landmark verdict in Massachusetts today convicted a driver of vehicular homicide, and his crime was blamed on texting while driving. The significance reaches far beyond this one case, and here's ABC's Amy Robach.
Depends on how distracted they are. If they're getting on my nerves and I'm starting to get distracted on the road, then yes. Because I'd rather be safe than have a good 5 seconds of fun.
Especially if that makes, like, driving harder, because driving's not easy anytime you do it, because you always are concentrated on so many different things. So especially if the person in the car with you is adding more to the problem, then I would definitely tell them to stop.
I would probably give them an ultimatum. If you don't stop, you gotta get out of the car. Even if we're like in the desert.
I make my dad pull over, even though I can't drive it, if he's really being distracting, because I hate when he starts like speeding up when he's all mad, because usually it's with my little sister in the car, and I don't want anything to happen to her.
I think it's important for the students to see that drunk driving isn't safe and nothing about it is right, and terrible things can happen because of it.
The exercise is intended to
Passengers.
Speeding.
Speeding.
I mean, yeah, speeding. If you're on like a major highway.
Why?
Well, if you're on a major highway like that Atlantic City Expressway, the speed limit's like, what is it, like 65? Everyone's going like 80 down there. So like if you're going 65, you're just you're you're disrupting it because everyone's going a certain speed. It's just a flow of traffic, and sometimes you have to speed to keep up with the flow of traffic, or else people will be like cutting you off, will go right past you.
Yeah, it's more dangerous to go super slow in a high speed than to just go with the flow.
Always, especially when there's only one person in the car with you and a friend asks for a ride. You feel like you don't want to make them have to walk home or have to walk in the rain or something, so you're kind of just pressured just to be like a moral compass and do the right thing.
The time restrictions, like, after our show, me and my family went out bowling and I drove there, and it just hit like 11 o'clock, and my brother pressured me to drive home alone because he wanted to go to my cousin's house, and I ended up driving home at 12:30, which made me even more scared and terrified of driving at nighttime, so.
Mainly just the passengers, because you just don't want them to walk home. You want to be nice.
Sometimes I feel pressured to like speed because sometimes I give my friends like rides to work and I feel like they're running late. I feel like I have to hurry up. A word.
Don't fall to pressure.
I pledge to be a safe and responsible passenger. By pledging this, I promise to abide by the GDL laws, which include the time restriction of passengers, and displaying the red decals. I promise to always be safe in the car, whether I am the driver or passenger.